Good afternoon again, everyone. It's Archivist David Thomas at the Cornwall Record Office at Truro. Welcome to another session of David's Dazzling Documents on a rather nice Truro afternoon. On the table today, we have an example of a type of document that we have many examples of in the Record Office, which is a tithe map of around 1840. One on the table is actually part of a set of 5 maps for the parish of St Austell done around that time. And many different types of historians find these maps fascinating for a large number of reasons. Let's have a closer look at the map itself and see what we can learn. Context really of the compilation of these maps is that up until this time, the clergy of the Church of England were quite often paid in kind, that's in physical objects rather than money, as part of their tithe for their stipend. And the purpose of the Tithe Commutation Act of 1836 was to commute or change those payments in kind into a money payment. To do that, they had to value the land and assess it on the basis of its agricultural value. And to value the land, you, of course, had to draw up a plan. And with the plan, there is a reference book, which is on the table to my right. Here we have, for example, the centre of what's now the town of St Austell, which at that time was a very much smaller place than it is today. And you can see on the plan, right in the centre here, we have the parish church of Holy Trinity, and surrounded by the buildings that were standing at that time. And you'll notice on the plan that each house or property or field or lot has a number, and they can be referenced into the actual reference book. There are other features on the plan which you can pick up, some of which have completely vanished today. For example, here's the trackway of the former St Austell and Pentewan Railway, tracks of which were lifted in 1917. And if your ancestors were in from the St Austell area and fell on perhaps poorer days, they may well have ended up in the Union Workhouse here at St Austell, which is shown on the plan. And these can be used for lots of reasons, for family history, for the study of demography, community history. So they're a fascinating snapshot of around 1840 of what Cornish communities were like. And they're still very much today anchor points for the study of local history. I mentioned the numbers, so if we look in the book of reference, which is to the right of the plan, these were done, in this case at St Austell, in 1844. And on the map, for example, I looked and there was a number 250, which is a house somewhere around in the centre of the town of St Austell. Here it's listed, dwelling, houses and garden. It was actually owned by a man called Paul Hitchens, and it was occupied by himself and other people. And the other properties nearby were occupied by William Prynne, the William Hancock, for example, good St Austell name. And the detail in these books is amazing because we have the landowner, the occupier, the number, as I've stated, a description of where the properties are, the state of its agricultural cultivation, which was important for the commuting of the tithes, the acreage, the tithes that were payable in money to the vicar of St Austell in this case, and also the tithes which had been appropriated and were paid to laymen as opposed to the clergy. So there's a lot of information about contemporary society. If your ancestors were in Cornwall in the 1840s and then perhaps emigrated and you wanted to know where they lived or did they have property in Cornwall, the tithe maps are an extremely valuable source for understanding how these communities were, where people lived, how much land they owned or occupied. Do come along and enjoy them if you're interested in how early 19th century Cornwall functioned and where people were resident. See you again.